When you think of Michael Jordan, one image comes to mind. The greatest basketball player who ever lived. 6-time NBA champion, 5-time MVP, 10-time scoring champion. A player who defined an era, built a global empire, and became larger than the game itself. But in 1994, the unthinkable happened. Jordan walked away from basketball in the prime of his career to chase a childhood dream, playing professional baseball. What followed is one of the most misunderstood chapters in sports history, a period that many saw as a failure, but one that revealed more about Jordan's character than any championship ring ever could. To understand why Michael Jordan traded the basketball court for the baseball diamond, you need to go back to October 1993. The Chicago Bulls had just completed their first three-peat, winning 3 straight NBA titles. Jordan was on top of the world, but his world was about to collapse. His father, James Jordan Sr., was murdered that summer in a roadside tragedy that shocked the nation. For Michael, his father had always been his guiding light, the man who introduced him to sports, who believed in him when no one else did. The two had talked for years about what it would be like if Michael played baseball, the sport his father loved most. After his father's death, Jordan was emotionally drained. He'd conquered basketball, but the joy was gone. So, on October 6, 1993, in a move that stunned the sports world, Jordan announced his retirement from the NBA. Within months, he signed a minor league baseball contract with the Chicago White Sox, a team also owned by Bulls owner Jerry Reinsdorf. The decision made headlines worldwide. Michael Jordan plays baseball, and many laughed, but Jordan wasn't joking. He reported to spring training in 1994, wearing number 45, determined to prove that his athletic genius could transcend sports. Jordan was assigned to the Birmingham Barons, the Double-A affiliate of the White Sox. But why Double-A? Most players who are new to baseball start in rookie or Single-A leagues. However, because of his fame, Jordan couldn't be placed in smaller towns. The crowds would have been uncontrollable. Double-A provided larger stadiums and better facilities for managing media attention, but it also meant tougher competition. Pitchers who were just one step away from the majors. At first, the results were ugly. In his first month, Jordan batted just .202, striking out 114 times in 497 plate appearances. His swing looked awkward, his timing was off, and pitchers had little trouble fooling him with breaking balls. Fans began to question whether this was all just a publicity stunt. Sports talk shows mocked him, saying, "Michael can't hit a curveball." And baseball purists scoffed at the idea that a 31-year-old basketball player could simply walk into their sport. But here's the thing. Jordan wasn't a joke to the people who saw how hard he worked. His manager, Terry Francona, who would later go on to win 2 World Series titles with the Boston Red Sox, said Jordan was the most determined player he'd ever coached. Jordan arrived early for batting practice, stayed late after games, and even trained in the cages under stadium lights long after his teammates had gone home. He'd hit hundreds of balls a day, drenched in sweat with calluses on his hands, refusing to quit. Over time, his improvement became noticeable. After struggling early, Jordan went on a 13-game hitting streak mid-season. He finished the year with a .202 batting average, 3 home runs, 51 RBIs, 30 stolen bases, and a .289 on-base percentage. Not great numbers by professional standards, but surprisingly respectable for someone who hadn't played baseball since high school. Scouts noted that Jordan's raw athleticism, speed, and work ethic gave him potential. One scout famously said, if Michael had started at 18 instead of 31, he could have made it to the majors. It's important to understand how difficult what Jordan attempted really was. Baseball is not a game of athleticism alone. It's a sport built on timing, muscle memory, and thousands of hours of repetition. The difference between hitting a basketball shot and connecting with a 95-mile-per-hour fastball is astronomical. Jordan had to rewire his entire body and instincts to adjust to a completely different rhythm of play. Even his teammates were initially skeptical, until they saw the level of commitment he brought. Francona recalled how Jordan handled his slump with grace, never blaming anyone, never acting entitled. He rode the team bus with everyone else, carried his own bags, and bought meals for his teammates. In the clubhouse, he was just MJ, not the basketball god. Players respected him for that humility. The 1994 season also took place during a strange time in baseball. That year, a players' strike canceled the remainder of the Major League Baseball season, including the World Series. During that period, Jordan had started to find his rhythm. He joined the Arizona Fall League, facing some of the best prospects in baseball, and continued improving. He even batted .252 in fall games, showing signs that his hard work was paying off. But then came another turning point. In early 1995, the NBA was calling again. The Bulls, struggling without their leader, were desperate for Jordan's return. Meanwhile, Jordan began training with the team again, just to stay in shape. But the competitive fire reignited. On March 18, 1995, two words changed sports forever. "I'm back." Jordan returned to the NBA after 17 months away, wearing number 45, the same number he wore in baseball. His body had changed. Baseball training had added more muscle mass to his frame. The rhythm of the NBA game took time to rediscover, but soon Jordan was dominating again. The following season, 1995-96, he led the Bulls to a 72-10 record and another championship, beginning his second three-peat. So how bad was Michael Jordan at baseball? Statistically, he wasn't good. A .202 batting average in Double-A doesn't scream talent. But when you dig deeper, it wasn't the disaster people think it was. Many scouts and coaches later admitted they were surprised by how quickly Jordan adapted. ESPN's documentary Jordan Rides the Bus, directed by Ron Shelton, revealed that Jordan's work ethic and progress were nothing short of remarkable. According to White Sox GM Ron Schuler, he wasn't going to the majors anytime soon, but if he had stuck with it for 2 or 3 more years, he could have been a legitimate big league outfielder. Even statistics back up the idea that he was improving. His strikeout rate decreased significantly over the course of the season. He learned to hit breaking balls better and became a reliable base runner. The truth is, Jordan's baseball journey wasn't about success or failure. It was about escape. It was about a man who'd lost his father and was searching for peace. Baseball gave him that. Away from the bright lights of the NBA, he rediscovered humility, patience, and discipline in a sport that forced him to slow down. That mental reset played a huge role in his legendary comeback later. And for the Birmingham Barons, Jordan wasn't just a player, he was a phenomenon. Their attendance nearly doubled that year, with fans flooding minor league parks just to catch a glimpse of him. He signed autographs, inspired kids, and treated everyone with respect. For many who witnessed it firsthand, that season remains one of the most memorable in baseball history, not because of his stats, but because of what it represented. A global superstar daring to be ordinary again. When you compare his baseball performance to other athletes who tried to switch sports, Jordan's attempt doesn't look bad at all. NFL legend Deion Sanders and Bo Jackson were rare exceptions, gifted enough to play both sports at elite levels. Most others failed miserably. Jordan's .202 average against Double-A pitching was better than many people expected from someone with a decade-long gap in experience. Even MLB insiders acknowledged his discipline. Sandy Alomar Jr. once said, "He had no business being as good as he was that quickly." Sports writer Steve Wolf, who initially mocked Jordan's baseball dream, later admitted, "He wasn't great, but he was real. He worked harder than anyone, and that's what earned my respect." By the time Jordan left baseball in 1995, he hadn't conquered it, but he hadn't embarrassed himself either. He had shown the world what it meant to chase a dream, even when you're already the best at something else. His time in baseball became an important piece of his larger story, a chapter of vulnerability and humanity that made him more than just a machine built to win. In hindsight, Jordan's baseball years feel less like a failure and more like a pause, a deep breath between two historic NBA dynasties. Without that break, he might never have returned with the same hunger. His love for competition, rekindled by failure, became the fuel for his next run of championships. So, was Michael Jordan bad at baseball? Maybe by the numbers, yes. But as a story of courage, resilience, and relentless effort, it was anything but bad. It was one of the boldest experiments in sports history. Michael Jordan's baseball career might not have made him a legend on the diamond, but it made him more human. It showed the world that even the greatest athlete alive can start over, struggle, and still come out stronger. And that's what true greatness looks like. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the untold chapters of sports history. Because sometimes, the moments we think are failures are the ones that define greatness the most.